Are we ready?
All right, ready.
No bras required. The podcast where two girlfriends talk about everything from diapers to death and do it all braless and brutally honest.
I'm Megan. I'm a mom of four, lifelong educator, dance studio owner, coffee and wine snob, and never afraid to speak my mind.
And I'm Patty, mom of three, teacher turned leader, dance boss, loud laughter, tequila enthusiast, and professionally unfiltered.
Together, we've got over 30 years in education, seven kids, two studios, countless bottles of wine and tequila, and a whole lot of stories to share with you.
What's no bras required all about? It's a space for women like us who are juggling life, entrepreneurship, parenting, work, marriage, friendship, grief, joy, chaos, and just need some real talk.
So, whether you're sipping wine in leggings, hiding in your car, or rage cleaning your kitchen, we're here for you.
Welcome back. Hey, Megan.
Hello. Hi, Patty.
How's it going?
It is going. We are having a Monday week. We have his first day of school here.
Yeah.
So yeah, we survived. We survived. We got home from baseball tournament last night at midnight. Woo! Up at 5:30 a.m. Kids out the door by 6:45.
Was it hot again?
No, this
I didn't.
time we played baseball in the pouring rain. There was
Oh,
her lovely hurricane off the coast that had moved through, and so it rained like a buckets Friday and Saturday. I mean, kids were like trying to do their practice swings, and bats are flying out of their hands. It was really almost dangerous. I was trying to control myself. I was like, I am not in charge here. This is not my party. However, I'm about to say something. But yeah, and then they played Sunday and we had three games because they kept winning. And so it didn't end till 7. And then
oh,
we had
those darn
4 hours.
kids winning
I
all the
know.
time, man.
I was like, why? I was like, look, I'm good. You can win the first one, lose the second. We could be
Yeah.
home in time to go to bed for school. But no, they had to keep winning. It's so disappointing. Anyway.
We were in the city and we did back to school shopping. So we shopped till we dropped. My sister, my niece, my daughter, and I. It's our annual girl trip. And then we also were back in studio today with our company kids and conditioning and talking all things resilience and goal planning. And it was a lot of fun. My quads, I may not get out of bed tomorrow, except I have to because I talked to them about it being uncomfortable, and that's what growth looks like. So for me to not show up would be really, really bad. So I have to.
Yeah.
Sheer
Well,
determination.
and you'll have to get out of bed to pee. So, I mean, at some point you're just gonna have to do the like careful sit and then just fall onto the
Yeah.
chairs in
Yeah.
the toilet.
My
Hmm.
quads are definitely feeling it though. And I'm like, okay. Walking is fine. But the first, like, we have two sets of stairs up to the studio. The first step down, I was glad I had the handrail. I don't know. It's like, just kind of caught me off guard a little bit. But so today, should we get on with our
Let's get
topic
into
today?
it.
Let's
Yeah.
get it. I love this topic so you know I love this topic so much.
Hmm.
We are talking about all things of values. So
Yeah.
values in your business, what you value as a person. Maybe if we have time, we could even talk about family values a little bit, because largely as a parent, if you've got your child in let me try that again, in after school activities, the amount of enjoyment that you get from that activity will be largely how well correlated it is to what your family values on the whole. And I think we could probably provide some insights into that a little bit, but
Yes. Well, you and I both had posts about that this week in our studios.
we did.
We did as we were getting into registration season and talking about making sure that you pick activities and places that provide those activities that align with your values as a family.
Yes.
Yes, I think we can get into that. And then also, how do you structure your life, especially as a CEO and a business owner, to match your values and
Yeah.
make sure that you're aligned because it's sometimes we lose that. So,
Well, and sometimes we
shop
don't even know what we value.
correct.
Like, I think
Yes.
there's a lot of people out there running their businesses or their lives just going by like, this is what I should want. And it's like, but is it actually? And if you're hitting those goals and those targets and you're finding that you're not fulfilled and you don't feel successful, it's time to go back and look at the drawing board, and who wrote your drawing board? Was it society, or did you have some input into it? So
Well, I think definitely in the dance world, I see so many studio owners running their studios the way it was done when they were a kid. And so they
yeah,
feel like, well, this is the blueprint and this is what I should do. And so therefore, I'm just going to structure my studio the same way and we're going to do the exact same things. And then they're burnt out and they're unfulfilled and they hate their studio and they hate what they've created
yeah,
and they don't understand why. And it's like, well, it doesn't align with your values. It doesn't align with your philosophy on education and business and teaching kids and working with kids.
yeah,
And no wonder you hate it. So our studio, we realigned our process last year, well, actually 2 years ago now, when we really restructured our company program.
mm-hmm.
And we really started talking about like, what do we value? What is important? What is the purpose of competition? What is the purpose of convention? What is the purpose of company?
Yeah,
What do we want kids to get out of this? Knowing that 1% of dancers are going to go on beyond the studio and do it professionally or even do it in college. Like, it's
yes,
such a small percentage of kids. And are we trying to build a studio that is pushing everyone to be that 1% when we know that it's not going to happen and they have no interest in it? What do we value? And so, and then we really started working on our tagline. So ours is dare to be different. And we have debates all the
yes,
time with things of, and me as the CEO, my job is to look at my staff and be like, okay, great. Is this decision based on something that we think we should do? Or is it based on our values and what we truly believe is best for kids?
yes,
Are we daring to be different? And is there a way that we can align our values with our structure, with what's best for kids, and make it work outside of what has always been done? Are we being creative enough and problem solving enough to make sure that we really are daring to be different and that we put education before recreation?
yeah. Oh, I love that. That's deep.
It's like a little mic drop right there.
It is.
You need a
Well,
microphone, Patty.
I have one, but I paid for this one, so I don't want to.
You want to drop that? Only Clint's we throw and
I only
drop.
dropped Clint's. Only Clint's. Um, that's so cool. And I actually just redid our core values. We've had ours for probably 7, 8 years, and I just feel like there's elements of them that still hold true, but I feel like we needed an upgraded version of what we had before. And we actually went from values down to four. Um,
Ooh.
I know I even had it spell an acronym. So it spells core because we're core dynamics dance. The C is for community. That is the one that stayed. The O is for opportunity because I feel not only do we offer opportunities to our dancers, but I also wanted our dancers to understand you have equal opportunity. What you get from it will differ based off of things like natural talent, your attendance, your work ethic in class, your outside the studio practice. And those are things that fall on you, not your coaches, not your parents, not your classmates. And so that's going to be in our narrative a lot this year with the kids in class. R is for resilience because the longer I teach, and I know you've heard me say this, I keep asking myself, who is looking after these children?
Mm.
Because I feel like we are failing them on so many levels and it's our fault. Like we are the adults that created this situation. So we need to clean it up. So again, It's because the narrative is going to be on what does resilience look like? How do we get it? What does it give us? Why should you want it? And just getting them into more of a growth mindset. And hopefully it carries off into other areas of their life. And then E is for excellence. We are never going to be perfect, but we will forever chase excellence. And what does that look like today? What does that look like right now for you in the studio? Did you show up with an attitude towards excellence, or are you having a day? And then working through all of that.
I love it.
Yeah,
And I love that you made it an acronym
I do
that
too.
and it fit your word. Like that just makes my heart happy.
Well, and it's, you know what? It's easier
Remember?
to remember. Which when
Yep.
I did my staff training last week, they were all laughing because they're like, Charlie came in and she's like, I know our core values. She goes, because I didn't last year when you made us go through them at the staff training. So she was determined. And then I'm like, oh, you still don't know them. And she goes, yes, I do. And she went through them. I'm like, no, I changed them. We're going to talk about it. She was like, what? I'm prepared for this. I'm like, I'm sorry. Sorry. But also not sorry. And you're going to love them. And they were all like, this is so much easier to remember, like how, what
Yeah.
they are and how, why we're doing them. So I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
And
love it.
really, the essence of a value, and this is what I teach my team, it's not what you do, it's the how you do your
Hmm.
business. It's what makes you stand out from the studio down the street, or like you said, like dare to be different. What is it that you're daring to do differently that you're known for in your community, in your walls, in like with your parents, with your newsletters, with your branding? And does it resonate? Do people feel that? Or are your values the same as like the hardware shop down the street? And what makes you different than the hardware store? Because they could be, and there's nothing wrong with that. But
Right.
what makes it different than, okay, if dance does these things and hardware does these things, like what is the difference in how you do your business?
Yes. Well, and I talk to my staff all the time about with our values, they are litmus test.
Yeah,
They are the thing that we always go back to. And when we have a tough decision to make, when we are, because you're always going to be put in these situations where there is no great choice,
no,
and something is going to have to give. Or it's just tough. Like it's just tough. You're dealing
yeah,
with tough people. You're dealing with a
yeah,
tough schedule. You never know. Like
yeah,
we know in business, you're getting hit left and right with all kinds of crazy things that you could never have prepared for. And you have to make decisions and sometimes in the moment. And so it's always going back to what are our values and what do we value? How do we operate? How do we want our clients to operate? How do we want our kids to operate?
yeah,
What is it that we stand on
yeah,
and does this align?
yeah,
And it makes those difficult conversations so easy when you go, well, at Studio 5 Dance Company, at Core Dynamics,
yeah,
we value this. And here's why.
yeah,
And this is what we believe.
yeah.
And this behavior, this language, this situation is not in line with our values.
Does not match.
It doesn't match. So here are our options.
Yeah,
You can't argue with that.
no,
It makes it out of the moment, not personal, not emotional. It's just here's who we are and here's what we
yeah,
stand by, and this is how we operate. You're welcome to fall in line. As I love to say, you can be joyfully on board or you can gracefully exit.
yeah,
But this is it. Like, here is the line, and that line never changes. Because I
yes,
think that's the thing that if you don't stand on values and you're not clear on what they are and how you're going to operate and what you stand for, then that line just continues to do this,
yeah.
which destroys trust and it creates problems.
Well, and it frustrates your staff and your parents and your student and you.
Yep,
And you have a right to go to work and be happy, especially when you run the place.
correct.
Yeah. I think too, it goes back to that saying, like, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Hmm.
And that is a frustrating place to be. Um, Especially if you don't feel supported in it. The thing I love about values is like I've used them now to hire staff and create my questions, like my interview questions specifically around my values because and we've talked about this before too, hiring people is one of the hardest things to do,
Hmm.
especially people that are a good value fit and that the level of enjoyment a new employee has is going to be dependent on how well aligned we are with what they believe and what we believe, how well aligned they feel to the business. If they're truly aligned to it, you've got like an employee for life, or at least like 5 to 7 to 10 years, where now like the turnover rate is so high in every industry. And employers are choosing not to hire people because they can't trust them to do the job. I was at a hair salon earlier this afternoon, and the owner was telling me she's actually started pulling kids out of high school that she knows. So like largely her daughter's friends or people. She's also a softball coach, but people that she knows and she knows what they're like work ethic wise and if they have any interest because she's a journeyman and will has the ability to get them certified. She's like the payoff for them, it saves them $22,000 in college fees. And she goes, the payoff for me is I know if they're any good before I hire them. Like, but she goes, I know who they are. Where before she was hiring people that had their ticket, and like her last one that kind of broke the proverbial camel's back was she worked 10 days, phoned in on day 11. I need a mental health day because she knew the stats were there legally. After 10 days you have to give your staff a mental health day should they request it. Well, she took as many mental health days as she could, and then she came back to work. And then she took her mental health days, and it's like this is why we are losing the workforce at the rate that we are. And I know people blame the employers, but at the same time it's like it is an exchange.
Hmm.
There, like we pay you to do work, and in turn you get the paycheck for the work. We don't pay you to show up in spirit but not in
Not
action
in
or
body.
body or anything. And it reflects
Nope.
back, well, it reflects back on small and medium businesses. And
Hmm.
I mean, statistics show when small and medium businesses are done, which they're shutting down in droves, we no longer have like it's low class and higher class economy, and it's like woof, we need to get this situation fixed before it gets any worse.
Yeah. Well, and think about as a business owner, you spend, I mean, you talk about this in marketing all the time, but it's the same thing with hiring. You spend more money to hire a new person.
Yeah.
So taking the time, as we've, one of my favorite sayings, hire slow and fire fast,
Yeah.
taking the time to find the right person to fill that role that is not only capable of the role or trainable,
Yeah.
because sometimes you don't find them capable, but they can be trainable. But more importantly, that they align with your values, with your mission, your vision, your philosophy. That will go a long way.
Yeah.
And then you can train them. They
Yeah.
may not have all the skills, but they're going to be the best employees that you have. And when I started hiring based on my values, based on my mission and vision, I mean, I'll look at their resume, I see what they can do. That doesn't mean anything. It's that conversation that we have of do we align?
Yeah.
This is what we believe. This is how we operate.
Yeah.
Tell me about you. I love just like hearing about them. What do you value? Where are you going to be in 5 years? Where do you see yourself? And not just where do you see yourself, but how do you see yourself getting there? I love to know that because that tells me, do they just expect it to happen? Or do they have grit and
I
determination and
love that.
perseverance?
Say it again
Because,
slower. I need to write
yeah.
down.
So, like, not just, the typical, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I asked that because I am curious because
Yeah.
like I want to know like do you plan to stay here or you think you're heading up to New York to make it big?
Yep.
Because sure, go try, friends.
Yep.
But my thought is, then I ask, well, how do you plan to get there? What? Tell me about that. Tell me about your plan.
Oh, that's gold. Wrote it down, highlighting it, adding it.
Tells you a lot about a person. If
It
you would
does.
just keep asking questions and dig deeper and go deeper beyond the surface level. But I think that's also how you start to determine your values.
Yeah.
When you're working with your staff, and Patty, you have a great way of doing this. And I know you've done it as a whole group with your staff. You've also done it just on your own and structuring it. And I've kind of done the same thing. But even if I do it on my own, it's going deeper and asking the questions, not just what do I value, taking the values quizzes, looking at the virtues. There's a bajillion of those that you can do for free.
Yep.
But then it's like, why does this resonate with me? What does this look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then we chart it out. So then it's so clear of like, yes, this is what trust means. This
Yep.
is what trust means as an employee. This is what trust means from parents. This is what trust means with kids. This is what trust means for us as a team. Like, and we lay it all out.
Yep. Yep. Nope. 100%. When we do it, and I did this last week with my team, it was like, okay, community. What does community look like in your classroom? How can you build it in? And we went through like, how do you build community during warm up? And we talked about different age groups. How do you build community when you're letting the class go? How do you, and so like for us with warm up, it's like with the older kids, once the warm up is set, because we'll set warm up for certain groups, depending on what we have to get through in the year, like through the syllabus, we'll let the kids lead the warm up. They get to take turns. We can then you've got hands free. You can go around and correct, hands on correction. At the end of every class, when we leave, we have the kids say, thank you. If it's me teaching, thank you, Miss Patty. Thank you to their classmates. They blow themselves a kiss and they go to the mirror and tell themselves one thing they're proud of that they did that day. So it's those routines and those traditions, I think,
Mhm.
that help really resonate through the group as well. And then when parents walk in, they're like, oh, that's so cool. And I'm like, yeah, but watch my kids when they go to workshops and conventions. They go thank their teacher because they've been taught to do it after every single class. And it stands out because most kids don't.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't even enter their head to go say thank you to the person that just gave them an amazing experience and to tell them one or two things they really liked about their class or, things like that. And so I think it's really important, not just this is our value, but how do you, as the teacher, incorporate into warm up, syllabus, across the floor, choreography, um, traditions? And then also, how does my desk staff and my admin team do community? How do they build it in their role so that we're unified in how we come across, and then it's not just a word on a wall. People feel it when they walk in, and that is one thing I'm very proud of my studio is they we are known for what we say. Like, we're not just saying it, we're actually in there doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, I've seen people create their values and
Yeah.
then you never see it again. They put it in a
Oh,
handbook.
yeah.
You have no idea what it is.
Don't
Is
talk about it.
it right? Is it prominently displayed all over your studio? Can the kids tell you what it means?
Yeah.
Are you not only living those values, but like people walk in and see it? I mean, I have a Scrabble wall on our wall as soon as you walk in my lobby that those are our values. And people sit there and they read through it, but then it's in the handbook. It's in what we do. We talk about it with the kids. Like it's in our social media. It's there and they understand what it's about, but they also can't just forget that it's there.
No, no. And the beautiful thing about it is if somebody is starting to have a little bit of an attitude issue, the whole studio, parents, students, staff, see that it's not in alignment because it's like, we don't do that here.
Hmm.
and it's
Well, it builds a
beautiful.
culture,
Yeah.
right? You're
And-
building a culture, and that
yeah.
is what your values are based off of, and that's what your mission and vision should be about, is not just what you say you're going to do and how you do it, but what's the culture going to be like? And are you intentionally structuring your culture? And as the CEO and the visionary of your studio, if you really step into your CEO role, your job is to fiercely protect that culture. That is your number one job,
Like one
is
of
to
your
protect it.
babies.
Yep.
Yeah.
It becomes like for me, my fifth child. But
Yep.
to protect that culture, and not just in a way that you are, well, no, 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 but you start to challenge your staff, especially if you've gotten to the point where you are really the leader and you have stepped
Yep.
out of the day-to-day roles and you have people operating for you, to go back and challenge them with those tough questions, with those, hey, I need you to process this. Are we, when we make this decision or we put this policy in place, are we in line with our values?
Yeah.
Is this really the culture we want to create?
Yeah.
How do we talk about it and frame it within the values? If we do believe that this policy needs to happen, because, we like to make up rules all the time because one person makes you angry or one thing happens, or Susie decided that she had the sniffles every other week, so now you're going to make this attendance policy, and really it's about Susie and you haven't even confronted the issue with Susie.
Yeah.
You're just going to blatantly put this on everybody.
Yeah.
Is that the best route? Maybe it needs to happen. Maybe you pull attendance reports and you see everybody's got
Yeah.
some attendance issues, and yeah, we do need an attendance policy. Or do I just need to have a conversation
With
with
Susie's
her
mom.
and Susie and her mom and figure out what's going on, because it's a problem,
Yeah.
but are you aligning with your values? Are you protecting that culture?
Right.
These are questions you have to keep asking yourself,
Yeah.
because you get frustrated, to ask your staff. Um, and I think also, as we are business owners, am I aligning my personal values with my studio values? Am I creating a studio that aligns with my personal values and
Yeah.
supports them and helps me grow and stay within those?
Yeah.
Or does it conflict and pull me away from what I value and I care about?
Yeah.
Because
And I
then we're in a bad place.
I love this. I just had my staff do the virtue um, quiz because I redid the core values. Um, and it was really interesting because I've had some people with me for like a number of years and I know what they bring to the team. But it was really cool because your virtues will change and your values will change as you get older, as you gain experience, as you go through things. And they should, like, who you are and who your business is should evolve over time. So what your values started out with the day you opened hopefully will change um, as you progress forward and you become better at what you do and you become more solidified in the beliefs and values that you hold. But it was really interesting, just as an exercise for myself as the CEO, like looking at what I feel they bring to the team and then looking at the virtues that they hold near and dear and how aligned they are. And it's like, oh, that's no accident. Of course, that's what you came up with. And I think we touched on it earlier, but when you are chasing what you feel maybe society says you should be achieving, or you're achieving what your industry says you should be achieving, and you stop looking at why you got into it in the first place and what your personal why is and why it's so important to you. um, I feel that's when we get stressed at work and we're overwhelmed and we're tired and we don't know why. And it's
Mhm.
like, are you chasing your version of success or did you substitute it for somebody else's along the way? And then how do you get back on track?
Yeah.
You need that
Well,
compass and that guiding light, which your
yeah.
virtues are.
And we talk a lot in education world. There's a
Mm.
huge debate on remember your why, and it becomes the like, remember my why,
I know, and everybody
blah,
rolls their eyes.
blah, right? Because there are structures. And I mean,
Yeah.
talking about, for people that don't have a studio, that aren't like creating their own values, that are
Yeah.
working within the values of another company, that are working maybe within a company or a structure or system that isn't working off of values at all, because
Yeah.
they haven't done that work, and that is not what their driving force is. To really align yourself with what is your why, like
Yeah.
why did you want to do this in the first place,
Yeah.
and are you working towards that why, or have you gotten yourself caught up in all the other things, and with bosses, and look, in the public school system there's a lot that we cannot control, but there's a lot that we can control.
Yeah.
So it's working within the boundaries of, okay, I have to do these things. And they're saying I have to do this. But why did I decide to become a teacher in the first place? Why did I want to be an educator in the first place? What was it that was that thing that made me say, I know I'm not going to get paid very much, and I will probably have to work 2 or 3 jobs, and this is hard. And everybody told me it was stupid to do this. Why would you want to do that? But there's something in your heart that said, yes, this is where I want to be. I love kids. I love watching them grow. I love it when the light comes on behind their eyes and they get it.
Yeah.
I love having that relationship with a kid and they come back 15 years later and they say, you will never know how much you meant to me. You're the reason I'm here today.
Yeah.
Guess what I did? They're so excited to tell you, whatever. Whatever that thing was. Maybe
Yeah.
you had the most amazing teacher and you're like, oh, I just want to be them for
Mhm.
kids. Or maybe you had the worst teachers and you were like, I want to make a difference and make sure that no kid ever has to go through that. Whatever it is, figure out what that why is. Go back to what it was
Yeah.
that brought you into this in the first place, why you decided to start your studio, why you wanted to be a dance teacher,
Yeah.
why did you want to be a mom, why did you want to get married. I know that's hard. That's hard sometimes. You're like, those
Yeah.
nights when they're snoring and you're like, you think
Oh.
that maybe they stopped and you're like, did they finally die? Like, can I sleep now? And then they breathe again and you're like, oh. I mean, there are times where you're like, oh, you're still breathing.
Yeah.
Yay, yay
Yeah.
me.
And I do.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm
I
so
do love my
happy.
husband. I do love my husband. I do love my husband.
I do love my children. I do love my children.
I
Yeah,
don't look good in orange jumpsuits. I don't look good in orange
I know.
jumpsuits.
Patty tells me all the time. She's like, you're too pretty for prison and you don't look good in orange.
Orange is
So
not your color, Megan. Yeah.
don't go to jail. I mean, there are days, but
It's
then
what
if you,
good friends do.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I need it. There are times where I'm like, Patty says I can't go to jail. It's okay. But
Way too
you
pretty for
got to
prison.
realign with those values and that why and figure it out. And then how do you create a space where you are working towards that why and
Yes.
you are building that despite what other things are happening? It
Yeah.
can be done within any system or structure.
Yeah.
You just have to have the heart and the passion and the focus of, okay, this is what it's about.
Yeah.
And I can do check these boxes, but this is truly what it's about. And that's what makes you amazing. I feel like a
And the
lot of
right
us
people will
lose.
find you. Like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
not every client is for every business. And like with the values, like I created a little bit of a system on how to create them with your company. And I've done it with a lot of dance studios, but I also did it for like other people in my local community. I did it for a greenhouse and it worked.
Hmm.
I think one of the coolest things as the owner to sit back and watch or manager is the body language when you're doing it, who's invested and who is sitting there with their arms crossed and they got a little bit of something something going on, and that something something is, I think, well, in the couple times that I've seen it, they're not a good fit for the business. And these were
Right.
large staffs, but like there was one that was like balking it in both situations that I'm thinking of. Arms crossed, furrowed brow, a little bit argumentative, and not like in a structural way, but in a no, that's not what we're doing. Like in a very closed minded way, not trying to be open to what people were saying. And after the exercise, funny enough, both businesses contacted me with like in the next month that followed, and these people had quit.
Hmm.
And it was like interesting.
Hmm.
I actually saw that coming. Like because it's like they are so closed off to this. And if you're diving down into it and everybody else is excited, you've got mostly the right people on your team. But it's like, okay, now do you want to work with that one to see if they can be a good fit? Or is it just like, you know what, no harm, no foul? Like if this isn't resonating with you and not the path you want to be on, then by all means, like, yes, let's try and find you something else that does align more with who you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it works.
Okay.
I mean, I've done it with school staff at
Yeah,
several different schools. And, these are huge staffs of 100 plus people.
yeah,
And to get people to really figure out what are their personal values, what are their values as an educator,
yeah,
what is their why? Why did they start this in the first place? What is their purpose and their mission and their personal passion? And does it align? And how do we make it align?
yeah,
Because this is a great way to also do organizational change. What's not aligning?
yeah,
And is it something that we can change as an organization, as a school, as a studio?
yeah,
Are we all feeling it? Or is it this one person?
yeah.
And I always go back to, and I'm sure a lot of educators say this, but this is always my litmus test for education is, are we talking about what's best for kids? Or are we talking about what's best for us as adults?
Mm,
And when we don't align with what's best for kids, because that is why we are here. And
yeah,
it goes to the studio too, because we have this conversation in the studio
all the
as well.
time.
If it does not go into what is best for kids, and you can't give me bullet point after bullet point after bullet point about why this is best for kids, usually backed by research, because I really like the research based practices.
Me too.
But
Yep.
if it's about you and it's about your schedule and it's about how you feel and oh what are this and blah blah and it keeps coming back to me, my team, my this, blah blah blah, and not about the kids, we're not aligned
Yeah.
and we have a problem.
And it's usually more ego based than
Oh yeah.
yeah. And again, I don't think intentionally. And I think sometimes when you point it out, they're a little like, oh, like they're seeing it. And it's like, that's my insecurities, my this, my that. And it's like, exactly.
And it also just makes you say,
Oh,
okay, maybe we're not in the right place. And
yeah,
maybe this isn't what you need to be doing right now. And we need to find you something else
yeah.
because our purpose and mission is to do what's best for
For
kids
the
and
kids.
to grow these kids into, as my mission says, kind, confident, life ready adults. That's our mission.
Life
It's through
ready.
the art of dance.
I love that.
Yeah,
Life ready.
life ready. And are we doing that?
No, largely not.
Well,
You think? I think as a society, no, we
as
failed
a
them.
society, no.
That's like a series of episodes and some tequila shots. Yes.
Mm. Well, I think yes. And I will say, just on a quick side note, because we don't need to go down this tangent, but I think we don't give kids as much credit as we should.
Yeah. And they're capable of way harder than they think they're capable
Correct.
of because they've been taught that uncomfortable is pain and we should run from that.
Correct. Yes.
Or
And
somebody
I,
save me.
yeah. And I think that's something that we definitely should dive into because they're amazing kids who are
Yeah.
capable of amazing things. Um, but yeah, we don't give them enough credit
No,
and enough opportunity,
no.
truly.
To like, but opportunity to fail.
Correct.
Like, and it's okay. We're going to support you. High support, high standard.
Mm-hmm.
High support, high standard.
Growth.
Um, I was going to say too, just back on values, because you know that I will go down that rabbit hole
Yeah.
so deep,
Oh,
Megan.
I know.
Uh,
It's our favorite thing to talk about.
children, why was nobody stopping it? We actually did core values as a family.
Mm,
And
yeah.
we did it when the boys were little. We were really struggling with like hitting. They wanted to smack when they got angry and stuff. And so, like, we, instead of saying, like, don't do that, that's wrong, that's bad, that's da da da, we would put our finger up and go, Johnston's don't hit. And it aligned them back to the family and like kind of that team mentality, right? So now when I'm in the studio with dancers and if they are doing like if they're talking, a couple years ago I had two little girls that just thought it was okay to smack talk their teammates in the preteen, all the hormones were there, good kids, bad choices, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to pull them into my office and I'm like, we don't do that here. We just don't do that here. Core dancers don't behave that way. So you have to decide if you're a core dancer or not.
Yep.
And they were like, sorry, sorry, sorry. I'm like, don't be sorry. Just don't do it again. It's fine. We're moving on. Like, but having that opportunity to um, just not attack the person, always relate it back to the behavior. And that's one of the most beautiful things I think having values based business does
Mm-hmm.
is when an employee messes up, and they're all going to mess up. As the boss, I mess up all the time. How do I want to be treated when I screw it up a little and when I screw it up royally? Do I want my walk away with my dignity intact and maybe feeling a little bit that was not how I do things? Like, yes, I would like to be still respected and have some dignity. Like, you made a bad call, you made a bad judgment, you did this. This is not in alignment with the behavior we're used to seeing from you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all behavior, not the
Person
person
and who they are. Yeah,
and
as
who
a
they
person.
are. Yeah. And
Yeah.
the other nice thing about it is largely when people aren't a good fit, it's because of their attitude, but attitude dictates behavior. And you can't talk about their attitude, but you sure can address their behavior. So it's like this beautiful um, umbrella that protects, I think, business owners and managers, but also employees and staff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've done a similar thing of doing our family values.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, we didn't tell our kids this when they were little,
Yeah.
but Mike and I have always talked about, and now that they're a little bit older, I do possibly use this language. Sorry, Mom. Um, but we're not assholes.
Yeah.
The end. Like, we will
Yeah.
not be
Full
assholes.
stop.
Full stop, like right there. So, like, what is that? Like, we're always going to be kind. We don't let people sit alone at lunch.
Yeah.
Like, you understand that sometimes kindness is walking away.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's knowing that a relationship needs to be done,
Yeah.
and that is kind to just separate. But we're not going to be ugly. We're not going to sit there and bash people. We're
Yeah.
not going to engage in nonsense.
Yeah.
We're going to be kind human beings. And while others may not be that way to us, we don't
It's
have
okay.
to return it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really helped shape our kids. Um, like when we don't really do values in school, but we have this thing called positive behavior support systems.
Mm.
And a lot of schools will come up with a cute little acronym because I love an acronym. But based on their whatever their mascot is usually what it is. And it might be lead. And so you're going to um or it could be learn, or whatever. And so,
Yeah.
like, you might take accountability, you have respect. It's always positive. Like, we
Yeah.
frame it in a positive way, not the knots, but this is what we will do. These are the positive attributes of what we want to see in all of these places. And as a core dynamics dancer, as a Studio 5 dancer, as a hawk, or, whatever
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
Um, and it really frames, this is how we're going to operate, but this is what it looks like, it sounds like, it feels like, in a positive way. We are respectful. We are accountable
Yeah.
for doing our work. We are, leaders. What does that look like? And, depending on the level, you can change how deep it needs to go, but you make it so kids can do it. And so they're constantly thinking, in this situation, how am I this?
Yeah. I love that. I love
Hmm.
that. We kind of did that today with our company coming back. Like we set their goals for the year and commitments to the team. Like how are you going to show up as a committed team member? They talked about what that looked like. Um, but we also added in what's going to get in your way. What obstacle has stopped you in the past? What obstacle could you see making it difficult for you to hit that goal or to show up in that way? And then we had them create a plan
Hmm.
around it. And this one, oh my gosh, she is adorable. Little Amelia goes, I don't know what that means. She's 7.
So
And I
she
said,
doesn't know what that means.
she doesn't know what that means. And I said, so, well, what was your goal? What was your commitment to your team? And she goes, that I would do more at home practice so that I knew my stuff better when I came to class. And I said, okay. And I said, so did you want to do that last year? And she goes, yeah. And I said, so what got in the way when you got home and it was time to practice, but you didn't feel like it? What was it that got in the way? And she was, oh, sitting on my butt and eating popcorn. And I'm like, okay, I love it. Like that is some real honesty right there.
No
Um,
more popcorn at Amelia's house. It gets in her way.
so, well, no, what I said to her, I said, well, Amelia, what would happen if you structured your popcorn and sitting down as your reward? And she goes, what does that mean? And I said, well, that means when you get home and you have time to practice, you make the popcorn, but then you go practice and then you can sit and eat it. She's like, oh, like her mind, bless her. I love her so much. But she's like, yeah, I could do that. And I'm like, yeah. And then it's a reward and you still get to do what you want to do. But when you go to bed at night that night, are you going to be stressed about going to dance the next day and not knowing your stuff? Or are you going to go to bed with a full tummy and some sweet dreams, proud of yourself? And she goes, yeah, that one. And I'm like, okay, kiddo, I think you
Hmm.
got it. But
Hmm.
I think it's so important when setting goals. Like we're all in the habit of setting them. We set positive affirmations. We post our goals everywhere. We never talk about what's going to get in our way.
Hmm.
And for me,
Oh,
like it's my
yeah.
phone. It is 100% my phone. And I started doing this summer because I've been doing this coaching course and they're talking us through it all. If I leave my phone where it is, because I do use it as my alarm, and I gave myself that excuse. Well, it's my alarm, so it's in my hand. No, I know how to hit snooze and roll over. So I can also hit stop and get my butt out and put my feet on the floor. So I have to get through my workout and my email because I've already checked 2 things off my task list and I've already built some momentum. And I'm finding I'm leaving my phone longer and longer and longer, and I'm getting more and more and more done
Hmm.
because
How
it's like,
many people is that, right? I mean,
oh,
like, we had, so there's this really awesome kid that lives in our town, and he created this business in during COVID. And it's like beachwear. Anyway,
oh,
and I mean, I should probably know way more about it because he's awesome.
yeah,
But he created this. It's like a bajillion-dollar business now. He's doing so amazing. And he came and talked to kids at my school in the entrepreneur class. And so the teacher was sharing, like, this was one of the best things that happened in his
yeah,
year last year, is like his win. but he was saying that this kid who is just now a senior in high school, so he is 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
Like how amazing, right? He makes more money than most people have could think of in their lifetime because he built this business and he told the kids, he said, look at your phone and look at your screen time. How many hours is it per day? Like what's your
Yeah.
average? Most of them are like 6 hours, 8 hours, more hours than that, like a ton. And
Yeah.
he was like, could you not find 2 hours in your day where you go away from your phone?
Yeah.
Think of how much you could do if you just focus for 2 hours
Hmm.
on whatever business you want to build
Yeah.
that you are already starting to build here in your entrepreneur class. Why not? Think
Well,
of what you could do if you
yeah.
would put that phone down. So I've started, I mean, this has been a while, but for Lent, every year for Lent, I
Yeah.
kind of analyze what's going on and where I need to fix myself and better myself because there's plenty.
Yeah.
Um, but one thing I looked at was, okay, what was my screen time and how much time was I spending on just scrolling on social media?
Yeah.
I'm not even looking at anything. I'm not even liking anybody's posts. I'm not even paying attention. Most of the time, I don't know if you've noticed, when you scroll through Facebook, I don't even know anybody because it's all ads and like random stuff that pops up that I'm like, I don't even know why I'm seeing this.
Yeah.
So I limited it to 1 hour, 1 hour per day.
Oh my
And you
gosh.
can put a screen time
Yeah.
on an app and it will, but I did it for all of social media because you can do that on your screen times. It's in your general settings. If you need help, let me know. I can help you out. But you can set it so it's 1 hour and then it'll give you a 5 minute warning and then it'll say your time's up and everything goes dark and then you have to intentionally like push the button and be like ignore my limit for today or give me
Yeah.
15 more minutes or give me one more minute,
Yeah.
and so then you have to like consciously think about it. I mean, and there are times where we're sitting in the car driving home last night. I'm trying to stay awake and keep Mike awake. I was like, ignore my limit. I
Yeah.
need to like entertain him with all the dogs on TikTok.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
we learned a lot about Labradors last night, but those kinds of things. I think it's that value setting. It's that intentional
Yep.
being intentional in the moment of creating the life that you want, and how you put the systems and structures in place to make sure you are doing that
Yeah.
and that you're holding yourself accountable for it because
Mhm.
we are always so easily distracted and it's so easy to just fall into those habits of
Well,
I don't
and
want to get out of bed. I'm going to sit here and scroll, and 2 hours go by, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've done nothing. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. What am I doing?
yeah. And then you beat yourself up for it all day. And it's like, then you go to bed depressed and mad at yourself. And it's like, what did you accomplish? And the worst part about it all is the phones are set up to get us to do it. Like,
Yes.
the dopamine hits and all of it. It's been so widely researched. And we keep doing the same thing, wondering when it's going to get better. And the answer is it won't until we make a change.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we have talked for a really long time and talked about a whole lot.
And it
So
is.
that is just the tip of the iceberg on values. I promise you, this is not going to be the first time that you hear about it
No.
because it is so important in what we do and how we build our lives, not just the life that we have, but the life that we want.
Yes.
And that's what values are all about.
Yeah. 100%.
Mhm.
Well, thank you guys for listening in to yet another No Bras Required. We hope you were in your comfy place, letting them dangle while you had a listen.
And you never know. Next time we could be talking about all kinds of inappropriate things, or we might be really super focused on business and values, and maybe we're raising children, and you never know what's going to come
Never
out of our
know.
mouths and what topic resonates with us the next day. So tune in next time for whatever we come up with. Our goal for this podcast is to be that village where we can have those deeper conversations. We can talk about the serious things and walk each other home from diapers to death and all the things that come in between, but also to bring the humor and our crazy squirrel moments and all of our funny stories that we've lived from parenting to entrepreneurship to just being us and the adventures that we come up with. But we want to build a community and be those people to give you some sound advice that, you know, maybe makes you giggle a little bit every once in a while.
So thank you for tuning in. Subscribe, share with your favorite hot mess mom friends, and give us a follow on Instagram at No Bras Required Pod.
Every week, we'll drop a new episode tackling everything from marriage and mom guilt to leadership and loss with humor, heart, and maybe a little tequila or wine. So bring your favorite drink and join us every week.